What is up, guys? So I gotta admit something. I was wrong. Yeah, so you don't know what this video is about. This is about Netflix's Avatar, and I made a couple videos about it on my channel before. And yeah, I was so wrong about this shit. You know, I'm not usually wrong about these things. Like I'm usually pretty on point, but yeah, this one I was just dead wrong about. So before season 1 dropped, I made a video defending the show. I think I made like 2 videos it was like 2 or 3 videos defending the show. And my whole thing was, if you already hate it, if you already hate it before you even watched it, you already made up your mind on like how you feel about the show. Like it's kind of doomed from the start. Like a lot of people already decided that they was gonna hate on the show and like review bombing and whatever the fuck, right? And because you already made up your mind without having watched it, to me that opinion didn't really matter. Because to be honest, like the way opinions work on YouTube, like a lot of people kind of let other people decide for themselves what to think about anything. It could be a movie, it could be a TV show, it could be a comic book, it could be anything. And that's kind of how it was with this show. But to be honest with you, I can't really defend it anymore. And this isn't going to be a crash out rant. This is going to be like a 30 to 40, like 2-hour long critique on like Netflix's Avatar, like of season 2. Like to be honest, I don't feel like editing all that shit. I'm honestly just kind of coping right now because Avatar fans, including myself, have been taking L's after L's after L's for the past, like, I don't even know how long. Like the 2020s have been rough for Avatar fans. Like everything that's come out, games, comic books have been kind of mid. Everything that's been come out Avatar related has either been canceled, leaked, or if it does come out, it's just kind of just not good. And every shot that we got of having like a mainstream, like our one shot of having a mainstream live action show to put us on the map for the general audience, it kind of just got fumbled. So I mean, we could talk about numbers first. So Avatar: Last Airbender season 2 debuts with 8.7 million views in 4 days, down 59% from season 1. A large drop from season 1 in 2024. The series debuted with 21.2 million views, meaning the new installation fell by 59%. So think about this, that's not a small dip. That's like half the fucking audience gone. And usually when it comes to things like this, a lot of people tend to like, hey, watch it, right? 8.7 million views isn't too bad. And I guess you could think of it in a way like kind of like this kind of happens with video games too. When it's like a very big I think I just got a subscriber. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think it's a very big comparison when it comes to video games, because usually video games, it will start with like a very high player count and then have like a very big dip into I guess like kind of an average to low player count, you know. Usually something that starts up pretty high kind of dips pretty low, you know what I'm saying? And on the review side, it's kind of split down the middle. You know, a lot of people kind of rate it around like the 5s, the 6s, and the 7s and shit. Okay, so this is like, this might be a different opinion. I try to collect as many different opinions and takes as I can about this, because it's very easy to get stuck into like the hate cesspool space of YouTube and the hate cesspool space of Twitter, right? So when it comes to stuff like this, it's easy to look at reviewers and be like, oh, this is like complete dog shit, right? Honestly, when it comes to like my coworkers, when it comes to like the people I know in the gym, and I ask them, how do you feel about Avatar: The Last Airbender, like the live action? They say like, oh, I like it, it's pretty good. And it brings a new perspective to me, because I'm thinking like everybody hates this fucking show based off what I'm seeing online. But sometimes that's not always the case. Like it begs the question, like the internet isn't a real place, right? And sometimes it might not reflect what people actually think about these things. Avatar: Last Airbender still bending expectations, as season 2 of Netflix's live adaptation has debuted with a franchise record on Rotten Tomatoes after 18 years. That's kind of insane. Yeah, so we got 67% from critics, 53% from I guess audience score, right? Which is like, that lands in the middle category. And to be honest, I don't really think that's I don't think that's a terrible thing. Right, so ever since like The Last Airbender, yeah, we got that. So I guess like seeing this pretty good considering what we've been getting. But here's the thing, where the fuck is Korra? Yeah, Korra got 89%, 78%. Yeah, what they really mean is 10 years if you want to count The Legend of Korra, because Legend of Korra was actually rated pretty high, especially comparing these two. Overall reviews suggest that season 2 of Netflix's live action adaptation improves on the first season with stronger action, darker scenes, and richer visuals. Many also praise the performances, emotional stakes, and expanded conflicts throughout the Four Nations storyline. Honestly, I would say like a big One thing I'll praise the show on is that I love the actors. I feel like the actors, they're having so much fun. They're bringing their absolute best in the performances. And to be honest with you, like anyone who, to be honest, like likes to comment on the actors' bodies and shit like that, calling them like fat. Like I know a lot of people talk about like Mai and Azula and shit like that. You're fucking corny, dude. Like God forbid they have a little body fat on their fucking face. Couldn't they get in somebody else? Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Like I think for what we got, they're pretty good. All right, now let's look at TV Guide. This is kind of a different opinion. Season 2 is a mostly messy adaptation with a muddy through line to his titular hero. But if you squint, you can see the loose beats of his journey and realize his destiny as the Avatar, the bridge between the physical world and the spiritual, and the only being who can control them all. We don't get quite the same sequence of events from the cartoon in Netflix's reimagining, but let the record show that I'm not against change outright. Even in a perfect world, the new Avatar could never be a copy-paste adaptation of the original animated series. And Jabbar Rizani and Christine Boylan, Avatar's new showrunners, aren't interested in that anyway. It's a completely different kind of retelling of the same legend. But here's the thing. I kind of hate this, right? Because this happens all the time where you get showrunners that they try to adapt whatever the fuck they've been told to adapt. They're getting paid to adapt it, right? And then they kind of just end up making their own fan fiction of it. You know, if you're going to make something completely new, why don't you just make something completely new? Does that not sound that doesn't sound too crazy, does it? Retelling the story means stripping Aang of crucial internal conflict and Azula of the very prowess that makes her a good villain. Is it really mirroring what came before? What's happening to Azula is not a fluke from Netflix's Avatar remake. The series has been rewriting itself in the Fire Nation's favor from the very beginning. Now here's the thing. I don't really think that's a bad thing. I think what they've been doing with the Fire Nation in the show is actually very good. But the thing is, everything else kind of is not on the same level of the writing of the Fire Nation, right? I think adding layers to Azula is a good thing. I feel like adding layers to Ozai is a good thing. But the thing is, everybody else just kind of feels dry. First season, he's less the hot-headed. He's less the hot-headed pro to tantrums and happy to abuse those he's deemed less. Yeah, Zuko's kind of toned down, and I feel like that might be because of the actor. They're going into more like the angst side of his character and kind of just trying to make us feel bad for him and try to make us like feel sympathy and stuff like that. But the thing is, like, they don't really tap into what makes his character flawed, I would say. Zuko in the beginning, he's an asshole. Like, I feel like they should have leaned into more of that in the Netflix adaptation, because I mean that's just his character. You know, they need to make his redemption hard. But I guess they're knowing where his character goes later on in the series. I guess they're keeping that in mind, so they're making his redemption smoother, right? Azula visibly struggles under Ozai's tutelage. She's vulnerable, unsteady, desperate for his approval. There's never been a more obvious ploy to core sympathy for a character who doesn't yet. But here's the thing. I think that's a good thing though, because people forget that Azula is a girl. Azula is a 14-year-old girl, and they didn't really tap into that in the original series. And like, a lot of people don't want to admit that the original series wasn't perfect. So the thing is, like, they're adding all these layers to Azula. They're adding this inner conflict with Azula and her relationship with Ozai at the very end of the fucking story, right? And I feel like there wasn't any of that leading up to it. And I feel like the Netflix's Avatar diving into that before we even get to the end, I feel like it's a good thing. And it's got people question whether Azula deserves a redemption or not, or, you know, like whether they ruined her character. I think this is a good change, right? She doesn't need to be like a cold-hearted, ruthless person, because in reality, Avatar is a show where like they dive into the Fire Nation. They're not all bad. It's more like their behavior towards the war and how they treat others is kind of a learned behavior over time of propaganda and stuff like that. Azula and Zuko are both victims of grooming from the Fire Nation and propaganda. They're trained to think this way, right? And the fact that they were portraying Azula as like she was just crazy. There's no redemption. There's no rehabilitation for her, despite her age. She's supposed to be 14. They never really dived deep into what her actual age is and how vulnerable she was when it came to her relationship to Ozai and how she felt about her mother. There was like little inklings of it, but they didn't really like dive into it. Avatar retains the disconnect between Ursa and Azula, but none of the subtlety. It reposes a remark Azula makes much later in the animated series. But I feel like showing that earlier on, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't know. What do you guys think? And you can say what you want in the comments. I think this is a good change, because for one of the main villains in the entire series, I feel like you need a change like that. Her showdown with Aang kind of makes her feel like a puppy kicked one too many times. That might be the case for the Azula we meet down the line, an Azula who eventually buckles under Ozai's pressure and the trauma of being alienated by her mother. But that should not be the Azula we see now, and not only because that's just not what happens in the animated show. I don't really agree with this argument because like you could say that they probably could have executed it a little bit better, right? They could have executed showing her trauma and showing her response to being neglected. It's a big deal, right? I feel like that's probably the one character where they can kind of go off script, to be honest with you. When it comes to the other characters, like I feel like Katara is very whack. I feel like Sokka's very whack. I feel like the main cast just doesn't feel as cool as the animated show. Okay, now we're gonna try something. We're gonna go down the list of the Avatar writers from the Netflix show, every single one of them, and we're just gonna look at their IMDb. We're just gonna look at their history, and we're gonna decide whether, like, let's just pretend that we're Netflix, right? And we're trying to see who's gonna write a live adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? Based off of their resume. Okay, we're gonna start with Keely McDonald. Devil May Cry, He-Man: The Masters of the Universe, 5.9, October Faction, 6.2, Sleepy Hollow, 7. Like, okay, Gabriel Yanis. Pretty sure I'm saying that right. The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live, National Treasure, Guy Meets Girl, Supergirl, Second Chance, East LA, 5.8, 6.2, 7.4, 4.9. Next up, Teresa Huang, Tom Swift, 3.4. Yikes. Ooh, yikes. SEAL Team, what? How the fuck do you say that? Post Sentence, Superstition, 5.1. Knight Rider, 5.6. Phineas Kiyomura, After We Leave, 4.3. Kill Me Deadly, 5.3. Beautiful Girl, 4.2. Like, Scream of Bikini, what? 6.0. Helen Shang. Oh, the Welcome to Dairy. Okay, that Welcome to Dairy is pretty good. That's probably the best thing I've ever seen on this. Rings of Power, The Man Who Fell to Earth, 13 Reasons Why. Honestly, the best one I've seen is Christine Boylan. They did Once Upon a Time. But would you guys say that these people would be fit to write a live action adaptation of one of the best cartoons, one of the best TV shows of all time, having like 5.9s and fucking 4.9s and fucking 3.4s and shit on their resume, on top of having five of these motherfuckers having all their greasy ass hands in the pot? No. No. Now, as for directors, Hiromi Kamada, pretty good. She did fucking Shogun. She did an episode of Shogun. About one episode. This is decent. This is decent right here. So, like a lot of 7s, a lot of 8s. Amit Gupta is decent too. Decent direction though. Anu Manon, like a lot, like a bit of 5s and 6s and Jabbar, our guy Jabbar. He did a lot of things here and there. Ooh, Spy Kids. We did Spy Kids 3? Yeah. So what a lot of these. Wait, he did Game of Thrones. What the fuck did he direct though? Let's go into director. Lost in Space, Pros and Cons. She's directed these. She's directed, yeah. And again, would you put fucking Avatar: Last Airbender in the hands of these guys? No. No. And I'm pretty sure maybe it was to save money. I don't know, but like we couldn't put this in the hands of just like better. They couldn't find anyone better. They couldn't find anyone better. Like honestly, I would have much rather they made a show about a completely different Avatar. You know, why are we trying to adapt the Last Airbender? Like we don't need to remake it. Just keep it on Netflix. Make it so everybody can watch it and just make a story about a new Avatar. They could have made a whole story about Kyoshi. We could have got a live action show about Yang Chen. That would have been awesome. And a lot of these writers and directors, they did adult shit. They don't really have much experience with children's television. This is a PG rated show. They don't really have much experience in that rating. And I feel like if they wanted to do something a little bit more adult, a little bit more mature, they really could have done Kyoshi. I don't know what was stopping them. So with that all aside, I was wrong. I defended this thing before it even dropped. So I would say it's fair to say that I'm pretty much just as bad as the people hating the show before it even dropped, right? It's not an unwatchable show. It's okay. Like if you never saw the cartoon like at all, it's probably a fine way into the story. But the thing, like, I just kind of wish that we had like a different attitude towards animation, that we just didn't making stuff like this. We kind of put down animation a lot. And they spent so much money on this. They spent so much money on this, guys. Like, I've been hearing rumors and stuff about this show for like ever since 2019. And to finally see it on the silver screen, it's disappointing, to be honest with you. And as an Avatar fan, it makes me sad because this show could have been good. This show could have been good in the right hands, but they just fumbled the fuck out of it. So yeah, let me know if you're coping with me. Let me know how you feel about Netflix's Avatar in the comment section below. Yeah, this is another L for Avatar fans. Like, comment, dislike, subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye.